I'm
How can
really
you catch up with Doctor
close
Who?
Well,
to the end
This
of
is the same
season
thing every
5.
season, just a different
No,
Doctor.
it is not.
I'm
And
really
only-
close.
Come on, it's like
Season 5.
science,
No,
something,
no.
traveling time, dialects, and you're like, dialects.
That's one of the things that's interesting about the new Doctor, just Matt Smith. They started doing sort of more of like, they started doing storylines for the first time, basically. We're like,
What?
it was,
Isn't it a little late to the game?
Well,
I mean, it's like, come on, you're on the,
until
what,
now-
11th, 12th Doctor now?
Until now, and at least from my perspective, because I've never watched the original Doctor Who's, I just watched the 3 recent Doctors, the ones before the huge break and everything.
Oh, okay.
It's been sort of almost like what you'd expect from a sitcom, where like there is a sort of joining story between it all. There are things that attach everything together, but it's mostly an episode by episode thing. Kind of like a lot of Fringe, really, where like there are a lot of episodes where mostly self-contained, but there's an overarching conspiracy. Like in the first season of the new Doctor Who, it would be like, oh, it's Bad Wolf, and what was Bad Wolf, and you find out at the end of the season, it's a big deal, and it ties everything together. But each episode stands on its own.
Yeah, it just always hints at it as you go along.
When
you start
this
finding
season
more
started with Matt Smith, they introduced something called the Crack, and it ends up being like this split time sort of.
It is a crack in space that can erase you from existence. Basically, like what happened in Fringe, but it happened like a year beforehand or something.
Isn't that like his job? Like,
No, I
that's
mean,
the doctor's job, is it to fix that, to prevent stuff like that?
No, but
He's
the
a
whole
time
time,
doctor.
the whole time you're not sure what's happening, what it is. You know that it
time.
keeps showing up throughout this one girl's life, which is this Emily Pond, which is like the companion of that season, basically.
Really?
But she's
Call her Emily?
yeah.
This guy is like Doctor Who's the
Amelia
biggest
or
player.
Amy?
You ever notice that?
Yeah,
He's always got
every
a
single
female companion
companion's a
with him.
girl.
And it's the same guy. It's not like
Except one guy, but that was because they wanted him in the season so they could spawn the entire Torchwood show.
Yeah, but it's like you kind of every time. I don't know. I always notice that like it's people don't realize it's the same guy.
Yeah.
Like he just changes bodies every time he dies. So this guy is a player. Like he's hanging out with chicks every season, going through time with them.
And every single one of them gets fucked.
Oh yeah.
Figuratively.
No. Literally.
And literally, but not by him. Because can he have sex? I don't even know. What do they do? Does he have?
He can't because that would mess up time.
Is he like a Namekian where they don't have a penis or something? I don't know how it works.
Well, I think
That was Piccolo, by the way. I don't know how much
Yeah,
everyone
I
remembers
remember.
Dragon Ball Z. But
I was just trying to get into that.
but basically, like, the crack turns out to be this hole in space and time created by the explosion of the TARDIS, which is their ship they go around in.
Well,
Yeah.
basically,
Basically,
time
at
ship,
some
it's
point-
not going to be a good thing.
At some point in the future of, like, in their direct, like, their linear future, meaning, like, their future as a person, not in, like, space-time, because they're jumping around and shit, it explodes. And it's basically tearing the universe apart, but they explain it as, like, ripples through time, where, like, whenever something happens that changes history, it happens sort of gradually in the perspective of the people who witness the change and can understand it.
That's way too much science shit.
It's a batshit insane show, but that's not really what I was going at. It's just what she mentioned. I want to explain it really quick. But the crazy thing they come up with is there's this character named River Song. Is this lady who dies in the first episode she's in, and then turns out she's a time traveler. Every single time she meets the Doctor, it's earlier in her life.
So it's almost like
So,
Benjamin
and she
Button.
knows that because their entire timeline of meeting each other are a bunch of events where each event happens chronologically for the two of them, but then when they each time travel again, they meet each other further along opposite directions of each of their timelines.
Like
so
it's almost like Benjamin Button.
Yeah, so like she knows from the first few episodes, she's like, oh, he knows me less and less. Like she knows something bad's gonna happen because she knows that she's just now meeting him in his timeline, even though it's like the end of her timeline. So she ends up dying in the first episode she's in.
So you keep seeing her throughout time.
Yeah, and she's getting younger and younger basically, and is earlier and earlier in her timeline.
So that's weird.
Yeah, and eventually the batshit insane thing is you find out that she is the daughter of the two people that he's with all this time, all 3 seasons.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How does that work? Because I thought
it
you have to.
It was this nutty thing where like.
How does one become enlisted as a time doctor?
You don't get enlisted. There were this race of people that they were literally just called the Time Lords.
Yeah, I know that.
They all died in a war with the Daleks.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, how do you get enlisted to become
it's not like Green Lantern Corps or anything like that. They're literally a race of people.
The screwdriver doesn't come and just fall onto your planet.
Yeah, they're basically.
Madam of Earth, you are the new Time Doctor. Here is your TARDIS. It's like, yes!
You have to be born as
They
a
would never.
doctor.
Who would ever want to repeat the Green Lantern Corps after seeing the new Green Lantern movie?
Oh, people who didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever expanded on that universe?
I have no interest.
It's actually really a fun universe to get into if you go before the movie happened. What I'm saying is before colors existed.
Before green started, the green
Well, it was
power
like-
of courage started finding the yellow power of fear.
Well, literally that wasn't.
Yeah, I know. It's literally like.
It was not an implemented idea. Like the Green Lantern
Yeah.
Corps were the shit, and it was like that's it. It's
And
the only
originally
Corps
there
around.
wasn't even a core. It was just the white guy.
Yeah.
Right? Or it was originally the white guy.
No,
and then-
there was a core. It was
Was
a
it
core,
the white guy or the black guy first?
It was
the white guy, right? And I think for like the first few years or whatever, it was just him, and then they introduced.
No, he
the
was.
Corps.
He was the first human, but there was the core had already been around. There's the Guardians were the ones who had made it, but there was.
Yeah, like I'm sure it existed already in like the timeline, just not really in like the our world. Like
Oh no, it
like,
was. Yeah,
like
it wasn't
they created-
prominent.
Like the first comics, there was no core.
Yeah, no, it was. But
You are
but
excluded.
but
I
for
have been the last time.
but for
I
the
forgot you were.
it was
here.
just it was
I forgot he
I've
was
been
here.
sitting here, yeah.
it was.
So would you?
It's
Yeah.
fine. I guess
Take
it's
something. Take
I don't know.
something.
There's just there's a lot of interesting characters if you follow the cores from the different colors. Like I think there's my favorite characters is Orange Core, and he's the only one, and orange is the color of greed, and
I'm going to stop you.
no, it's,
I know there's like 5 colors and it's like a whole.
no,
prism
I'm
of,
not
like,
getting into any of that. I'm just saying the reason I like him
Earth,
is because he's
fire,
so ridiculous
heart.
on everything.
Maybe
Like, he,
water.
he's so paranoid about losing his stuff because he's so greedy.
Yeah.
And he has his own planet to himself, just him, his ring, and a bunch of junk that he steals from other people because he wants it. And he's this like really skinny, really tall, like alien-looking guy. And he's like batshit crazy. And they had a
I
little.
got you with my word.
And they had like this little sidetrack of him like during Christmas one time, and he was like figuring out who this Santa person was, and so he was I just remember it was so funny because they had this whole thing where he does all the milk and cookies and he's all excited. He's like, I want Santa to bring me everything on Earth, everything that exists. And so he sits there and he waits, he goes to sleep and he wakes up. He's like, Santa didn't bring me anything. What is going on? And he just goes around and starts stealing everything from people. And they're like, what are you doing? Santa doesn't exist! And all these kids are crying and shit. They're like, Santa does exist! He's like, look, he brought me a toy! Give me that! Santa didn't give me anything! And he's stealing everything from people. It's like, this is awesome. They need to focus on this guy. I don't care about the Green Lanterns or the White Lantern or other colors. This orange guy is fantastic. He steals toys from children.
The question is, which DC writer was abused as a child?
And yeah, honestly, this guy who wrote it had to, and it's funny because he's in every single, he always makes a reference in everybody's comics because they love him. They can't kill him because no one hates the guy because he's so, every time you see him he's ridiculous. He'll steal or desire anything.
How often do you really kill a character in a
DC does it a
in
lot.
DC comic?
They do it a lot.
And they don't come back?
No, they do it as where they do it in the sense of killing
It was
as
an
in
alternate
time.
timeline. It was a clone.
No, it was time has just moved on. They don't exist as much anymore in this world. You see them every so often, but they don't have their own comics. This guy, he doesn't have his own comic series, but he can't not exist in the universe. So they always have him at some points, and it's funny how he's a little bit more known and impressive than the Green Lanterns themselves, aside from Hal Jordan. But it's just, I don't know, it's just, that kind of upsets me that when watching the movie, you're just like, this is such a bad interpretation of what the Green Lanterns is. There's so many...
It wasn't even a matter of interpreting. It was just a bad movie.
Well, yeah.
Everything. There was entire scenes in that movie, which was incredibly long compared to how it could have been, where it just kept going, and you're like, I don't know why this scene is here. There's a part where, my planet is being attacked by the evil yellow dude. I'm gonna fly all the way to the Green Lantern Corps, which I quit like a scene ago, to ask them permission to fight the yellow dude. What? He didn't get backup or anything. He was like, I'm going to talk to you guys for 10 minutes so that I can fly back and do what I was gonna do if I never came.